Namaskar. The one-time 90-day compliance window under the Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets Imposition of Tax Bill 2015, or simply the Black Money Law, closes on the 30th of September. Now, government has already issued 2 sets of frequently answered questions to clarify the doubts of stakeholders regarding the foreign black money law. And all anti-harassment and pro-confidentiality procedures, they are in place for those who want to avail of this compliance window. And besides this, government has taken several measures to deal with the issue of black money. These include the setting up of that SIT, which has presented 3 reports to the Supreme Court and will present a 4th one next month. And government has launched global efforts to stop cross-border tax evasion and fraud. It has also enacted legislation and amendments to the IT Act, also introducing general anti-avoidance rule, proactively engaging with foreign governments. There's double taxation avoidance agreements, there's information sharing and the like. Now, what's important is that September 30, now this black money law will come into effect in full force, and the CBDT says that it will go after black money hoarders. Now, to discuss the compliance window coming to a closure, we have with us in the studio Ved Jain, former president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Pooja Mehra is the economics editor of The Hindu. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll start with you, Mr. Jain. This compliance window is for declaring foreign assets abroad, isn't it?
Yes.
What do you understand by that?
This window is for foreign assets as well as foreign income.
Okay.
See, the government was concerned that people who are keeping money outside the foreign bank account,
Sure.
particularly in view of the revolution which came to the light in the year 2011 with the HSBC bank disclosures.
Right.
So government has started a move that how to handle these issues. And in this budget session, the government enacted a law which is called the Black Money Law.
That's right.
And on that basis, then they said, no, we will be giving a compliance window for a period of 3 months, 90 days,
Right.
for the people who have defaulted to comply with that law.
Right.
Now, under the black money law, a person who is caught with a foreign assets or foreign income, now there will be a penalty of 120%. What we say,
Sure.
30%
When you
tax.
say income, because, well, I mean, the income is, it's taxed abroad as already?
No, irrespective of the fact whether it is taxed abroad or not. The law says every resident of India is required to pay tax on global income.
Okay.
Whether I am in India or I am abroad, I being a resident of this country, I am supposed to pay
Resident
tax
here.
in India. One way is that in case I earn income outside India and I pay taxes there in that country, and I then declare that income in India because that income is chargeable tax, under the DTAA,
Yes.
what we call a double taxation avoidance agreement, I am entitled to take a credit of their taxes.
Okay.
So I can take a credit. So then there is no issue because that is a foreign
Sure.
income or foreign asset. You
Right.
have disclosed.
Right.
But many Indians, as we hear from the various press news and reports, etc.,
I see.
there are people who have opened bank account outside India, people who have carried out transaction outside India,
Okay.
and which have not been reported. So to take care of that situation, the government has come out with this Black Money Act,
Sure.
whereby after this compliance window gets closed,
Sure.
any person who is caught that he has done a transaction outside India,
Right.
he has a foreign bank account or a foreign assets outside India, or has earned income outside India, he will be liable to pay tax at the rate of 30%. Besides, he will be liable to pay penalty at the rate of 300%, which means 120%.
Yes.
And then there will be prosecution also.
Yes.
In this law, the government has further said that there will be no time limitation. Meaning thereby this account, this income can be of any period.
Yes.
Earlier the income tax is 6 years.
Sure.
Now this law says it can be 16 year, 26 year,
Fair
36 year, whichever it is there.
Sure.
Now this window says that in case you have done something wrong during past, and if you can come out clean and now pay tax and penalty, which is 30 plus 30, 60%,
Yes.
then you can get out of this. So this is the window
enough.
given for that compliance only.
Right. Ms. Mehra, the government has been reasonable. It has given a 90-day period, and sufficient information also has been put into the public domain for those who want to avail this compliance window. Also, you know, suitable arrangements have been made for confidentiality.
Yes.
So everything seems to be in place, isn't it?
Yes, I think the government has taken another very good step for this compliance window and the Black Money Act itself,
Yes.
which is that the government is assured that, and it's a part of the law, that all investigations will have to be completed within 2 financial years of the notice first being given out by the
Okay.
income tax authorities. So there's no endless investigation and harassment which otherwise sometimes takes place. So that's a
So
very
you mean
good step.
if it's not finished in 2 years, but it can always be opened up after that again? No?
The investigation.
Because that's what Mr. Jain was just saying. I mean, it can go on for, all of income for
I think what
period.
he is saying is that for a previous year, let's say
That's right.
for some transactions or some income earned, say many years ago, though a charge can be made for income tax of that period, which is
Okay.
many years ago.
Sure.
But once the charge is made and a notice is issued, the investigation has to be completed within 2 years,
Okay.
following which either prosecution or closure of the case has to be.
Sure.
That's the intention, so that there's no prolonged harassment
Sure.
of.
So, Mr. Jain, there are people who've come back to India, like, they've lived like 30, 40 years abroad. And they probably had, obviously, income and accounts there. And maybe they have sort of, declared it or whatever, or maybe they haven't. Now, in case, is such a long period of time, would they be able to, have all the information and all that? Is that necessary to be declared?
No, see, we need to make a distinction between a resident and a non-resident. If you have been abroad, I believe you have been a non-resident.
That's right.
And this
but you
black-
come resident to India now.
But now
You've
only-
locked up and come back.
Only your obligation arises from the day when you become a resident.
Okay.
Till such time where you were a non-resident, you were holding assets outside India, you were earning income outside India, there is
But you
nothing.
have to declare those assets.
No, when you come back, obviously you need to
you declare
declare.
those
You need to
assets, fair
disclose. But in case, suppose you have worked in Canada for say 20 years, and there you have earned salary income, you are having pension, you have a bank deposit. So till such time you are a non-resident, there is no disclosure required. The moment you come back to India,
But you're
and-
still drawing pension. So that
and you're
pension
drawing
is now
pension, that
taxable.
pension become taxable in India. But in
And
case
not
you-
taxable there.
But in case it is taxable, whatever taxes you have paid there, you can take a credit of that taxes. Only thing is, over and above, in case there is a tax liability, you need to pay tax in India. So that's a
there's absolutely
requirement.
no reason for people to hold their accounts, secret. I mean, people who have genuinely lived abroad for so many years and had accounts there naturally.
See, the law does not go after a person who has been a tax compliant.
Okay.
A person who is complying the law, there's no reason why that law should be after it. The law is enacted, this black law, particular black money law is particularly enacted only for those peoples
Sure.
who are keeping money outside India undeclared.
Okay.
And that's why it is applicable only to a resident, because non-resident is otherwise eligible to keep an account outside India. There's nothing wrong in that.
No, I'm talking about a person who was previously non-resident but who is now resident. Ms. Mehra, there are companies that deal with, with foreign clients, etc., and probably will have some sort of money abroad or accounts abroad. What of them? I mean, how do they come into this situation if they have not declared their account abroad?
I think, as far as my understanding goes, the application of the law is exactly like how it is for
Okay.
individuals. If a company has a permanent establishment here in India, then the same rules apply to such a company for holding foreign assets or for having generated income overseas.
Okay.
I think they're covered by the law.
Sure.
That's my understanding.
How would you understand that? So, because, okay, there are different kinds of accounts that people would have abroad. I mean, we've dealt with the individuals. Now, how does the partnership firm or the company, how does the government look at these? How do they fit into the compliance window?
See, under the law, there are 2 laws which are applicable in this type of transaction. One is
Right.
called FAMA, Foreign Exchange
Right.
Management Act. One is the Income Tax Law. FAMA permits Indian entities to operate outside India. If I want to do business outside India, I'm eligible as a resident to do business.
Right.
I can do in my individual name as a proprietor. I can open a company also. I can have a partnership. Now that entity becomes an entity of that country only and is a resident of that country only.
Sure.
So in case it is a limited company, no income accrues or arises in India, so this income is not chargeable to tax in India. All I have to declare is that I am a shareholder in that company and my shareholding is so much for which I have remitted so much money from India.
Okay.
In case any dividend income is received, I am supposed to declare that income in India.
Right.
If I am a partner, then I need to say, yes, I am a partner in that firm. My share of profit is in that firm is so much. Income which accrues and arises to me and my share of profit, I need to declare here in India. So FAMA permits, income tax law permits.
Okay.
Now that partnership firm or that company becomes a non-resident company, so there is nothing wrong in that company.
Right.
Issue which arises for consideration is that in case I have an income outside India,
Okay.
which is chargeable to tax in India, but I do not declare.
Okay.
The challenge comes to that way. And I will just give you that 2 years back, the income tax return forms have been amended. And
Yes.
this year particularly the government has become very serious.
Okay.
Now the law mandate, even as a resident, if I have a power of attorney or as a joint name or
Okay.
some beneficial interest in any foreign bank account outside India,
Yes.
I'm supposed to declare that also. So
Okay.
there are many people, non-resident, which are living in that country, but for the sake of security, for the sake of affiliation, for the sake of sentiment, they give the name of their brother, they give the name of their parents, they give the name of their father as joint account holder
Yes,
or as a
yes.
power of attorney.
Yes.
Now those who are resident here in India, and if they have an access to that bank account, they are also
also-
required to disclose that my son or my daughter or my brother or my sister is having a foreign bank account where I'm also a signatory.
So-
And in case of a non-disclosure, penalty of rupees 10 lakh is
10
leviable now.
Right. Even if they are not getting any income or anything from this. So this will probably apply to many people who have children abroad or who have relatives abroad. Ms. Mehra, what would you think? I mean, this is an important aspect because people are sending money also back
It's
from
important.
abroad. Yes.
It's important, but the important thing to note is that all that they expect you to do is to mention this in your return.
Okay.
If there's no tax that you have to pay, if tax is not chargeable on this bank account or this income,
Yes.
then you don't have to pay a tax. So there's nothing
right.
to get paranoid about.
Okay.
All that the government expects is that it wants you to tell them that I am a joint
Yes.
holdee in an account overseas, and I am furnishing this information.
Right.
It's nothing to be paranoid about.
So, Ms. Mehra, the overarching theme of what the government wants to do is to bring more and more money into the system, into the formal
right.
system,
Yes.
and it's making every effort to do that. How do you view this, since this government has taken office, the number of measures it's taken to try and bring money into the formal system, and it's necessary to be in the formal system as well, because some people have been making arguments that let black money inside the country, at least let it continue to have its free run, because it's creating economic activity, and the finance minister says that's an unsustainable argument.
Yes, that's right. So the thing is that this particular act, any money that leaks out of the economy has to be brought back in. Now, there are different views on what is the quantity of this money that leaks out of India annually, and that needs to be brought back.
That's right, yes.
This particular government, the BJP, in its manifesto ahead of the election last year, they were very clear, and they also had some estimates of the amount of money that's outside
That's
of this
right.
country, though there's no clarity and there's no agreement on what exactly this quantity is. But they have been very clear in intent, and within a year there is a legislation that has been brought in over and above the Income Tax Act for not only bringing back but also sending out the message that holding of money overseas will not be acceptable unless tax is paid or unless it's declared. So that sends out a very strong message. I think now what remains to be addressed, and probably what should be the next step for the government, should be how to address the problem of the laundering of money, because there's a lot of round tipping that happens through stock exchange, through the stock markets, what is called participatory notes. The SIT has flagged this as an issue.
Yes.
And the government has said that the finance minister said he's yet to take a view, the government's yet to take a view on how to go about complying with the recommendation of the SIT, which is that participatory notes, ultimate holders and beneficiaries of participatory notes have to be subjected to know your client rules. So that becomes logically the next step for the government to take. And of course, it's important to address the issue of black money within the country as well.
So, Mr. Jain, that will probably come in the course of time, the way the government is dealing and the SIT's recommendations. But there's an enabling framework also that is being built up. The government, with all its global efforts in terms of double taxation avoidance agreements, in terms of tax information network, is trying to build up where actually this leakage at least can be plugged, and it can be at least easily found out.
See, there are two issues. One is money abroad and money within India. When we talk of black money, we have the income tax law and we have enabling provisions also,
That's
which
right.
include PMLA also, Prevention of Corruption Act also.
That's
There are
right.
so many enactment already. And each one of each act try to address the problem which the society is facing, India is facing today. Now, one of the ways that there is an apprehension that a large money from India moves out of this country and is parked in those countries which are tax haven countries.
That's right.
In that regard, this government in the last 1.5 years has taken very serious and very effective measure where they are trying to block those countries, tax haven. We did something with Cyprus. We said no, whatever the transaction we did with Cyprus, 30% tax we will straight away chargeable. Similar, we are trying to do it with the Switzerland also. We put pressure that you need to disclose the foreign bank accounts of the people, Indian people. Similar efforts are on in India. So there is an enabling mechanism and provision which is already created. Now, at the same time, what we need to do is that in our exercise to handle this issue, we may not do a little bit overdo in the sense that it may affect overall economic.
Yes.
Nobody is in favor of black money. Nobody
Yes.
wants that nothing should be done. Efforts should be done, but at the same time, we must keep in mind that ease of doing business in India does not get affected simultaneously.
Okay.
So that's why all these issues and the issue which Ms. Mehra raised about is participatory note,
Right.
etc. That's why the issue has been flagged.
Okay.
Because participatory notes is a international phenomena of the investment which is being made in the various exchanges. There are people, there are trusts which make the money and etc. There are allegations that the participatory notes do have money which is a round tripping money, etc.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's also an accepted fact in internationally the money moves like this. People make investment, there are groups which make investment. So that's a larger issue. So that's an issue of the economy.
Okay.
So the government is handling this issue, and I believe that over a period of time, the finance minister will be able to take a call on this participatory notes also.
So, Ms. Mehra, it's a sort of a balancing act, isn't it? Because you have to present the image as well that, you know, the ease of doing business, the government is serious about letting foreign investment coming in.
Yeah,
It may affect that. I mean, if the
balancing act.
investment is coming in through FPIs and it's coming into the markets and it's coming in through participatory notes as well, these are concerns that have been raised. But you know, I mean, if we try and understand how well, if the government is to try and you know, bring this money also into the formal system by being more strict, what would it really need to be done? What would it really need to do? It would have to just comply with what the SIT is doing?
It would have to comply with what the SIT is doing, but also you have to keep in mind that there is a similar steps are being taken around the world by across countries. So there is this agreement.
Is it really the case? Because I mean, I read somewhere that you know, most countries have a certain unaccounted parallel economy that's running about 20%, or I mean, or 20 to 30%. And in some countries, it's gone up to 40%. India is well below that. India is in the 20 to 30 range.
There is an estimate. Yeah, there is one estimate that says about 40 to 50% as well. So you know, these estimates you can
and every economy of the world. I mean, it's not,
you can keep debating. And this is a problem that every economy is facing, and therefore all economies are coming together to say that this is something that has to be done something about.
Right. And so all
the
that
US
money, you know, is apparently going around in the
to
stock
tax
market
havens.
or what?
It goes to tax havens.
And then it comes back into markets.
A lot of it sometimes comes back.
And they're trillions of dollars.
Trillions of dollars, which is why all that the SIT is saying is that we need to know who is the ultimate beneficiary. I do not think that should in any way come in the way of India being a good business-friendly investment destination.
Sure.
All that the authorities are saying, we'd like to know who is the ultimate beneficiary. That does not in any manner lower the ease of doing business for India. I don't see how investors can complain about that. The other thing I wanted to mention here is that India is a signatory now to the FATCA, the international treaty where all countries are going to share information on tax and financial investments and movement of funds across countries.
Yes.
And that is going to help India find out who share and exchange information with other countries, including bank account details. And I think what the government is trying to say is that if you're not going to make these disclosures under the new Black Money Act, when that kicks in sometime from now, we are going to have recourse to information in any case.
Sure.
So I think they're sort of trying to...
So, Mr. Jain, well, I mean, this kind of money is, in any case, it can be traced. It's not unaccounted in that sense. The unaccounted money that it's all cash. That is not accounted for, and dealing with that kind of an issue. See, these are monies that have gone abroad and probably as in some tax haven, or they have been put into a bankable system, and they are into the system, so they can be traced, isn't it? Is there a difference? How would you understand that?
See, it is a perception and the change which happens over a period. See, till 2000, I will say 9, 10 or 11 somewhere, this was a part of the system, people never took it so seriously. I believe post 2008 meltdown, a debate started worldwide, particularly some of the developed countries facing some economic crisis. They started looking at the money which is stashed abroad.
Okay.
America was one of that country, Germany was also one of that country, other countries they also started looking. And then they started making a consensus that no country can have a law where the secrecy will supersede the taxation laws. Switzerland was one of the countries where they say no secrecy will supersede the taxation law, we will not share the information. And then in G20 and other countries, they started their meeting, they started raising this issue, no, each country need to make a disclosure and they country should be forced to subside the secrecy law. And that's why the debate started. America came out with that law, FATCA, which we say the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. Now, on that basis, now debate has started. Now, there are two, and India has also started that post 2011, and we have amended many treaties where we say that you need to share the information of the Indian resident having a foreign bank account outside India. That process has started. Now, two issues have arisen on that is, what happened to the transaction which has taken place before the amendment, 2011 prior to that, and the transaction which happened post 2011.
Yes.
I am of the view that post 2011 there can't be any debate.
Okay.
Within a period of 1 or 2 years, Indian resident, Indian passport being used, those accounts will be with the public domain and Indian government will be having an access to that.
Right.
So all those people, resident, my message is very loud and clear.
Sure.
If you are a resident Indian and Indian passport holder, your all foreign bank account which are operating as on date, they will be within the Indian domain within the next 6 months, a year or 2 years. The issue will remain only of those accounts which are prior to 2011, where the treaty will not support, and those accounts which haven't got closed. So that's a debate which has started, and I am of the view that yes, now each country having become conscious of the money which is legitimately to be in that country and to be taxed in that country, if it does not get taxed, then that will be taken care of now.
Ms. Mehra, when this 90-day compliance window was also enough time for people to actually empty out those accounts. There are presumptions that there are billions of dollars, but at least to take them away, to put them in, or deal with it in a particular way. How would you view that?
Yeah, but take out money from the accounts and then do what with it?
Well, they probably would find a way of doing something with it. Yes.
If you convert it into an asset, it gets covered by the...
Then it gets covered, yes.
Yeah. So
or you'll have to convert it into an asset in somebody else's name, or a person who's resident abroad, yes.
Yeah. Or you bring it back into the country through the round-tripping channel, the participatory notes. Sooner or later, that will get, come under the KYC norms. And
but we've not seen any activity that
I would just like to react on this.
Yes.
Once you have an account outside India, whether you withdraw the money today or whether you withdrawn yesterday, that trail is always available.
It's
so you will be caught. There's no issue about that.
Fair enough.
Even you have emptied your bank account, the government will be able to get hold of that bank account tomorrow.
And close it? If you have
even
closed
then they will be able, because that trail is always available, because it's money in the bank account. It's not in cash, it is in a bank account. So that problem is still there. The only thing on the compliance window is that now the period is expiring.
Let's deal with the issue of cash. Is cash, is that a problem? How if people, there was talk, even in all these novels, etc., people were carrying suitcases abroad and all full of cash. What do they do with all that? They deposit it in the bank?
Nobody keeps money in the cash form by and large. The money is either kept in bank account, in your own name, in your Benami name, in your relative's name, in your friend's name, or in the form of some stock, investment, gold. These are the properties also. So it is never kept in cash by and large. If one has to keep the money in cash, people will keep the money in India also in cash. The foreign money is by and large in the bank account. So that's why it's not easy. So the idea is that this window has been open only for these people, that you have a bank account outside India, you have a property outside India, you have some
Sure.
income outside India which you have not reported, but come and declare that income.
Right.
The only issue is that window is getting closed on 30th September.
Yes.
And probably the rules which have been notified in the month
Yes.
of July and the clarification have been coming in the August. So there are maybe some issue, practical problem. People may be
Okay.
saying the time is not sufficient enough to work
enough.
it out.
There
and
could be
detail out. So those may
practical
be the
issue.
issue which will be raised.
So finally, one last from you, Ms. Mehra. This it's just a matter of time then, right? Before everything, the system looks clean and or the system becomes formal. I mean, or we have the money in the formal system.
That's right. And there's one important change that the Black Money Act that makes is, which is that it will be for the courts to assume that there is existence of culpable,
Okay.
mental state, which is different from how it has been so far. So once a defaulter is being asked questions, then the onus is on him to prove
Okay.
that there was no ignorance and there was no default on his part.
Okay.
And I think all these things create deterrent. And
Yes.
once you create deterrent, then
Then there's
the
compliance.
chances of success are greater for a tax authority and for a country trying to clean up the system of black money.
Sure. We leave it there. Thank you very much for being with us,
you.
both of you. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley earlier this month had said that the government will not go soft on bringing unaccounted wealth back into the formal system. And he said, ultimately, the target of any economy as it grows is to bring more and more resources into the system, and that India needs all its resources to come within the system. Well, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Namaskar.